Ladies and gentlemen. So, Arknights will soon have another The Front That Was banner. Featuring all the new operators, from the 3 previous banners in the main story. This banner appearance also means episode 13 is just around the corner. So with EP 13, and other new operators in the future, should you pull this banner? Without a doubt most people's priority here is for the 6 star. And since the 6 star you can get are only these 3. If you don't have any of the 6 star, it's a good banner to pull. But then again, it's one hell of a gamble, and you might end up with a 6 star you don't want. I'd say you better save your pulls for now, for upcoming operators who are not less interesting. Especially the next limited should be sometime after EP 13 if Yosta doesn't do any reschedule. However, if you are thinking of pulling, here's a summary of what the 6 star can do. There's Horn, who is a 6 star fortress defender. Despite being a defender, she is pretty much not the best pick if you need a tank. Because she doesn't have any ability that boosts her defense. And she can't do any AoE attack when blocking. But as long as you avoid that, her offensive abilities make up for it. She has a talent to increase all defender operators' attack. And a second talent that gives her a second life. She also has a good set of skills. Skill 1 gives a high damage multiplier, and provides your team with a nice DPS. As well as having the ability to reveal invisible enemies. Though it's not exactly the best invisibility reveal when compared to another 6 star in this banner. Skill 2 is a good nuke skill, with it having additional arts damage. And this skill allows her to deal AoE damage when she blocks an enemy. Last but not least, skill 3 is simple, but an amazing AoE damage skill. Overall, if you need AoE physical damager, she's a great pick. Her drawbacks are mainly just her archetype typical drawback. Like the range, which can be awkward in some stages. And she won't do AoE attacks when she is blocking, unless she uses her skill 2. Which is probably people's least favorite skill. The next 6 star is the best mechanic that ever lived, Stainless. An artificer supporter with decent stats and abilities to be used as a blocker. But in general, it's still better if you use others for blocking. While he does what he does best, providing support through his devices. Compared to other artificers, he has a very flexible support device that can be used by anyone and be placed on any tile. And with the help of his talent too, he won't easily run out of devices. A problem that his peers tend to have. And unlike other artificers, his devices change utility depending on what skill he used. Skill 1 makes his devices give attack boost to the target. If I'm not mistaken, it's still the biggest attack boost that one person can give. And the device also stays indefinitely until you activate his skill. While skill 2 makes his devices give SP. And the best thing is that it doesn't discriminate, no matter what class the target is. Or what kind of SP recovery they have, the devices will still give them that sweet SP. Lastly, skill 3 will turn his device into a turret. Other than dealing AoE damage, this turret can also be attacked by your operators. Which opens up a lot of possibilities. But mainly it helps ARPs with offensive recovery skills to charge their SP by attacking it. Or healing enmity units like Musa or Reaper. But of course the turret being targetable also means it's the Mystic and Hunter archetype public enemy number 1. Or for operators who have skills like Hool Hayak or Typhon. All in all, Stainless' flexible support ability is very useful for a lot of situations. But his strength depends on the other units you have. So with that said, he's typically not recommended for newbie, who have a limited option of operators. And even for long-time players who have plenty of units. He's still pretty much optional. The last 6 star is Inez. Inez is an agent vanguard, a vanguard that so far hasn't been disappointing. And Inez is even considered one if not the best vanguard. For how flexible and versatile she is. Like her talent 1 will bind enemies temporarily, and increase her attack via steal effect. And talent 2 allows her to reveal invisible enemies in range. As well as decreasing their movement. For skills, I think skill 1 is her least favorite. but you probably like it for AFK gaming, or could use that arts dot. Skill 2 is arguably her best skill. It has good damage for a vanguard. Quick cycle and can be instant use upon deployment. Has an invisibility effect unlike the common camouflage. It protects her from AoE attacks. And the DP generation is also comparable to standard bearer vanguard. And the fact this is her skill 2 means new players will get her best skill without spending resources too much. Next, skill 3 has high damage and crowd control potential. But the biggest downside is that this skill forces her to become pure fast redeploy. Which of course not a problem if that is what you really need. Alright, that's the rate up 6 stars, but what about the 4 and 5 star? I'll keep it short. The 5 star are mostly a skip, especially if you are new. Rock is a good single target caster. But you're probably better off investing in Supreme Leader Amia instead. Who can do the same job more or less. Cement is good for how bulky she can be. But between her tray and big SP cost, she take quite a lot of investment to be good. For Paprika, I never see her chain healing actually preferable than other healer. So she's a skip. Meanwhile, the 4 stars are all great. But I recommend you get Honeyberry from the Red Voucher shop to replace Chestnut as soon as possible. Okay, that's all about the rate up units in this banner. Inez is definitely the main goal here for most people. And if I remember right, there's no other banner that will feature her in the future, except for maybe the usual standard pool. Anyway, you should only pull this banner if you don't have any of the 6 star featured. Or at least having only one. Otherwise, you might want to save up resources for future banners. Like seriously, we're most likely going to have 3 limited banners back to back. That should be all. Adios.